Yeah, so the Eagles and Jalen Hurts could not get it done against Kirk Cousins and the Falcons yesterday. They had that cool, calm, and collected drive at the end to come close or to win it. But yeah, so is this a bigger story on the Eagles side or is it a bigger story on the Falcons side? What's going on in Philadelphia?
Well, let's give credit.
You waited to tweet until
quickly.
Jalen Hurts lost the game. By the way, I feel like he was dealing throughout, and you waited until it was over. Saquon drops the pass. The game would have been very different if he picks that up, and that's definitely not on Jalen Hurts. But
okay, all right, okay. Well, listen. So sometimes I live tweet games. Sometimes I just tweet at the end. Sometimes I don't tweet at all. The cool thing about my Twitter is it's my Twitter. So I will use it precisely how I want to use it. And this idea when folks are like, oh, you were awful silent. Oh, you mean I wasn't actively engaging the audience when it looked like I might be wrong? Instead, I popped up when I was clearly right? Yeah, that seems like kind of a perfect use of my own personal social media that I'm not paid to be on. Yeah, that's exactly what I did. Now, on the Falcons side of things, they were written off for dead far too early. And Bijan looked, the biggest story, everyone's going to be like, oh, Kirk looked better. Kirk was going to look better. Kirk is not going to be finished as a player. Now, he needs to look even better than he did for the majority of that game, but he looked better. The story for me for the Falcons is, man, I think Bijan Robinson can leave this season as the best running back in football, but that's more projection based on who he was at Texas. You saw some of that yesterday. So credit to the Falcons because, Demonte, I don't know if you have seen the Falcons' upcoming slate, but Sunday night, not exactly a welcome sight coming to Atlanta, the Kansas City Chiefs, then New Orleans, Tampa. So their next three opponents are a combined 6-0, so they needed this victory. But the story obviously is Philadelphia. So let's go through all of it. Demonte said it. If Saquon catches the pass, we're not having this conversation. But that's why you don't call a pass there. And I hate the analysis of, well, it was schemed up perfectly. Yeah, but a perfectly thrown pass has like a 3% chance of being dropped. And that's why in that spot, you don't throw a pass. That is coaching. The Philadelphia Eagles had a coaching disaster class last night. Sirianni has no rhyme or reason to when he does or doesn't go for it on fourth down. He went for it early, then he lost his mettle. He started kicking field goals. Then at the very end of the game, this is not complicated. There's a minute 45 left. The Falcons have no timeouts. You have 3rd and 3. You have been gashing them on the ground. You run the ball. If you don't pick it up, you then go to the line of scrimmage. You then you waste the clock, draw it down to a minute, try to draw them off sides. If you don't, you call timeout. And then with a minute left, here's the other thing, you go for it again. Because this is the thing that analytics folks understand, but coaches don't. And I've said it before, I will say it again. I know it's counterintuitive, but if you think you are the better team, if you think you have outplayed the opposing team, if you think if this game were to go to overtime, we have the better roster, I know it sounds crazy. Inside of 2 minutes, you'd rather be up 3 than up 6. Kicking that field goal is a net negative. Up 3, here's what happens. And all the data bears this out. The other team's a little more conservative. Once they get in field goal range, it's not 4 down territory, and they far too often play for overtime. So let's just say the Eagles had run it, and not picked it up. Obviously, if they pick it up, they win the game. But if they run it, don't pick it up. Here's the scenario. The Atlanta Falcons have the ball on the 2-yard line with 1 minute, needing to go a minimum of 60 yards, right? In order to tie the game. Instead, you opt into kicking a field goal, then kicking the kickoff out of the end zone. Now, again, worst case scenario, run it, don't pick it up. It's Falcons having 1 minute to go 60 yards to kick a 55-yarder to tie you. Instead, it was Falcons a minute 40 to go 70 yards, just 10 yards more, to beat you. It's insane. Insane decision-making by the head coach. So that part is on Sirianni. Now, once you do what he did, the other option is, hey, Eagles defense that I hear so much about, don't let Kirk Cousins slice and dice you. 3 plays, you're at the 12-yard line. And I know everybody was like, oh, Nick, I know the Eagles had a bottom 5 defense in football last year, but they fixed it. How? By signing Devin White, who was a healthy scratch yesterday, by 2 draft picks, who I like. And by the way, Quinyon Mitchell's been good. Cooper DeJean has not been able to get on the field, really. But rookie corners and safeties are not going to save you their rookie season. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson had a great play on the 4th and 1, a bad play on the touchdown to Mooney. So no, Vic Fangio got run out of Miami. No, that defense, where's the pass rush? Hassan Reddick seems to have ruined 2 teams' pass rushes. The Jets by not showing up, the Eagles by leaving. So no, I don't trust the defense. And then, DeMonze, I know you like him, but now we're to the Jalen Hurts part of the program, which is, here is the circumstance. You have a good kicker. You have a timeout. There's 27 seconds left. They're at the 43. So their own 43. So if they get to the 40, it's a 57-yarder, which is hard, but doable. So let's say you need 20 yards. You need 20 yards to make it a very doable field goal. And you have a timeout, and you have 27 seconds. You got no business. You're down 1. A field goal wins the game. You got no business making that throw, Jalen Hurts. None. That's a bad decision. That's a bad decision. So you have a coaching disaster class, a defensive disaster class, and then Jalen, who had played well because he started running again. And with A.J. Brown not out there, he's just not going to be dynamic throwing the ball. Let me rephrase that. With A.J. Brown not out there, the Eagles' offense is not going to really work unless Jalen Hurts is running regularly. And to his credit, he was willing to. But then he made a terrible mistake. So no, Philadelphia, I don't trust you. I don't trust your coach. I intermittently trust your quarterback. And I flatly don't trust your defense. And now all of a sudden, Philly, at New Orleans, at Tampa. Going into the year, those 2 games looked like 2 imminently winnable road games. Now, let me ask you this, DeMonze. Do you think right now a fairy godmother comes in and can wave a wand and says to the Eagles, I guarantee you a split. I guarantee you go 1-1 at New Orleans and at Tampa. You can't go 2-0. You can't go 0-2. Would they take it? Because I think right now they'd take it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah, I mean, a split between the. Why wouldn't they take it? Are you saying as opposed to taking the 2-0?
I mean, If you were to ask the Chiefs right now, hey, I guarantee you can have a split. You know what I mean? If you were to, I think they would be like, no, we'll roll the dice.
Right.
We'll risk going 0-2 because we think we can go 2-0. I just think the Eagles, all of a sudden, those look like two tough games. And
we would say that was the biggest mistake that Jalen Hurts made the entire game. I get it was also in the biggest spot, but I didn't see him make a lot of mistakes throughout the game. And without A.J. Brown, he still made the passes that he needed to make. He got his receivers.
I thought he played well. Yeah. He's not. Listen, the main characters of the Eagles' loss are their coach and their defense, but just the final actor was Jalen. No, if we were doing blame pie, I would go 50% Sirianni, 40% defense, 10% Jalen Hurts. You know what I mean? Like that. So I'm not putting this on Jalen. It's just despite how bad the coach and the defense were, Jalen could have bailed them out with a better decision down the stretch and didn't. That's all. Hey, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button to get more from the show and make sure to click the bell to get notified every time new content drops. Check out full episodes of What's Right wherever you get your podcasts, or just click the link in the description below.